Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back to Times Square. It is Kevin McCullough. It is That Kevin Show, having a big time, a lot of fun this Saturday night and Sunday night. I hope that you are as well. Still to come, we have got a fabulous new music spotlight tonight. Gracie Abrams, and you may know her as the opening act to Taylor Swift, but we've got her for 2 songs tonight, so it's going to be a lot of fun. My next guest needs no introduction because he is not only the CEO of Prairie Operating Group, and he has been with us several times in the past, but he also heads up this little website called oilfacts.com. Ed Kovalik, welcome back to That Kevin Show.
It's great to be on the show, Kevin.
Yeah. Let's talk about the thing that you're doing right now. Now, I've been catching you on all kinds of shows across the country. You've been on the Mike Gallagher Show and the Joe Piscopo Show and Mark Davis and all these others. You're talking about these kind of irrefutable facts about fossil fuels. Why are you making this an issue at this point?
Well, there's been so much misinformation and disinformation. I frankly don't know what the difference is between those two anymore, but about energy and about fossil fuels and the role of renewables, and a lot of mistruths have been spoken. So I think it's really important for your audience and for people in general to know the truth. And that's why we launched the website oilfacts.com to educate the public on, the real facts of the matter behind energy.
And what you're talking about kind of nationwide this week is the fact that fossil fuels are oftentimes kind of referred to as villains, but in fact, they've saved a lot of lives over the course of mankind's history. Give me some examples.
Well, I think the greatest statistic that jumps off the page is the fact that climate-related deaths have decreased by 98% over the last 100 years, really brought about by fossil fuels, even as temperatures have risen and CO2 levels have risen. And so, all of this is really made possible by the fact that fossil fuels allow us to grow our food efficiently, to irrigate crops efficiently, to provide heating and cooling for people in their homes and places of work. And, none of these things really were possible in the prior 100-year period before this last one, which is why so many more people died as a function of climate.
Yeah. Well, and I just, every time about this time of year, I get really thankful that I've got air conditioning in my house. And
yeah.
I'm thinking that while it's more of a luxury for me, because I could probably survive with open windows and just suffer through, some warm days, in places on planet Earth, AC and heating have saved lives as well. And those have largely been brought about because of this.
That's exactly right. Most people don't really understand the fact that half of the world lives in miserable poverty because they just don't have any energy. The amount of energy that our refrigerators consume annually is greater than that of a family for the entire year in the developing world. And we may think that, these things are luxuries, that air conditioning, heating, refrigeration are luxuries. But it's really cold-hearted to think that people around the world shouldn't have the same things that we have to increase our standard of living, because frankly, they're not luxuries. If you don't have these things that we take for granted, then your productivity as a country, greatly diminishes. You can't work in factories that are sweltering hot. You can't live in homes that are, incredibly cold. And so, that's driven a lot of disease around the world as well, because, 40% of the world's population still cooks in their homes using animal dung and manure. And that causes a great number of, breathing related deaths in the world. And so I think the humanitarian perspective is that everybody in the world deserves access to fossil fuels, clean, impactful energy to empower their lives and better their lives.
Well, friends, these are just some of the facts that you'll find if you go to oilfacts.com, and there's going to be a series of these kind of laid out over the next few weeks. And the purpose of it is very simple. We want you to use the information at oilfacts.com to have intelligent discussions with your friends and neighbors who may be confused about the energy issue. They may think that because it's been so branded in the media as being a terrible thing, that they may not know the truth. So oilfacts.com is a free resource. In fact, they've even got a newsletter that you can sign up for there, and you'll get additional facts sent to you as they're able to put them together. And it's a great way to start a conversation about arguably what is going to be, I think, one of the most important issues of the election cycle. And Ed, just 2 nights ago, there was the first debate. Looking towards November 5th, how important should the energy issue rank in terms of what the candidates talk to us about?
That's a great question. And there are really a couple perspectives on that. One is that the greatest economic driver, I think, to this election is inflation, the inflation that we've experienced over the last several years. And the core component of inflation is energy prices, besides rent and cost of goods. And so the higher oil prices are, the higher inflation is, the higher and longer interest rates stay. And so I think that is a core driver to the economic well-being of the country. So to me, it's a top 3 issue in this election. And you may think that as the CEO of an oil company, we're hopeful to have higher oil prices for longer. But in fact, our industry has been so innovative in the U.S. That's really what we're known for, is American, ingenuity, that we've lowered our costs of production so low that we can afford much lower prices. And that's really what we're advocating is, renaissance for American energy, a drive back towards American energy independence to lower the cost for consumers, which will in turn lower inflation. So I think it's a, extremely core issue. Yeah. I think the other angle is geopolitically, we see all the conflict around the world that's really shaking up the geopolitical structures around the world between a unipolar, U.S. dominant world that we all, see in our rearview mirror, and this current state of affairs that's very volatile. And, you'll notice that the countries involved are, really fighting over energy.
Go to oilfacts.com, sign up for the insider newsletter, and see for yourself. Oilfacts.com, oilfacts.com.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.